Aloha, beautiful women. Welcome to the Women Unleashed online retreat. My name is Amber Quile Malani Benici. I am your host and just really excited to welcome you here. So if this is your first time, you made it. Congratulations. You made it here. I know there's a lot going on, and so just to arrive here I know is a big thing. So welcome. My hope for you is that you can just take some time for yourself to realign, that you're able to really be present so that whatever wisdom comes during this session, that you're able to kind of bring this in. Think about it as like you're entering into 2017, looking at what's to come next, and you're thinking, oh, this might be something really juicy that I can bring into it. And that you come to that year from a more nurtured space instead of from feeling what you haven't done yet. Now, I'm excited about today's session. This is actually something that I've been working with personally, that I'm implementing in my business, with my family, with my friends, with everything, as a way to make life feel yummier and juicier to me. So really great things to come. But before we go there, I want to make sure a couple things. One, that you have the materials you need for today. So materials list. We have your Women Unleashed journal, colored goodies. Those things are option. Your white candle. You also said incense of your choosing, right, Lisa?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. We have frankincense, essential oil. Yeah. And then a statue or a representation of the goddess or blessed mother, the feminine figure. So, and beverage of choice. Lisa, what are you drinking today?
Well, that's really good. I mentioned before that I wish Mike was here to bring me something. So in my fantasy right now, I'm drinking tequila on the rocks with a drop of lime essential oil, because that's what I do like to drink.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I just talked to someone else about tequila, but I've never put an essential oil inside my tequila. There's something like healing about that. I always think that tequila is healing anyway, so that's just like a whole added benefit.
It is, and I want to just recommend one drop of lime essential oil in your tequila on the rocks, or tequila with, sometimes I put a little seltzer, a little, purified water in there to just dilute it. But because I try to live sugar-free, I don't do mixers and stuff like that. I try to keep it very simple. But one drop of lime essential oil in the tequila.
That sounds really amazing. I love it. Tequila is what I use when I start to get any sort of throat tickle.
Yes.
Shot tequila.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Okay, so today I'm actually drinking a peppermint mocha. My husband, I was telling you, so my husband swung by. He's so sweet. He swung by, got me a coconut milk peppermint mocha.
Wonderful.
Love that stuff. All right. So let's go ahead and get present before we jump in. And then I know you've met Lisa kind of, but I'm going to give you the full scoop on Lisa. But before we go there, let's just get present, get here. So close your eyes with me. Oh. And if there's anything that has been distracting you or that's pulling at you that came before this session, that for this next time together, while we're in session, let's take a deep breath in. Exhale and let that go. And then if there's anything to come that you're worried about or that's pulling you from this moment, let's go ahead and take a deep breath in. And for this time together, let that go. Exhale. And our final breath in, inhaling and smelling this moment. There's only one of them. Let that go. When you're ready to open your eyes, so I can introduce you officially to our beautiful guide, Lisa Marie Rosati. Now, if you've been with me for a while, I invite Lisa to everything. She's like my online bestie who I just invite to all my parties. She is a business mentor. She's a lifestyle expert, and she's the creatrix of the Goddess Lifestyle Plan. She is also an expert columnist for Aspire magazine. She's an international best-selling author and high priestess of the Goddess Lifestyle Sisterhood. So she believes that women can have it all. She's created this really successful, thriving business and a global brand while being a devoted wife and raising her children. And that's actually how I first met Lisa, is when I did the Radiant Mama back in 2013. When I was looking for other moms who were out there like rocking it, Lisa was there with her, I think it was like 3 cavemen and a lady or something, right?
Yeah.
Back in the day. We're
Back in the day.
Yep. So now she really helps, she has this passion to teach kind of ambitious, soulful women how to create an abundant, prosperous life, and one that is connected to a business and life that they love. So she combines strategic thinking, like sharp intuition. She has this vast knowledge of holistic health and psychology, healing modalities, and women's spirituality, plus 20 plus years of metaphysical studies. So she's got like all this stuff. And so she mixes like very spiritual as well as like get your stuff done, no nonsense approach, which is one of the things I really love about Lisa. So welcome, Lisa, to the party. Oh, I mean the retreat.
Thank you. To the online party. Thank you, Amber. I love being here with you. I love your community, and always fun to spend time with you.
I know. We always laugh. It's always a good time.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Awesome.
So when we were originally talking about what should we talk about during this retreat, you know, and what wisdom do we want to connect the women with, we started looking at the energy of the priestess. And if that word doesn't work for you, I encourage you to use medicine woman, or, you know, the one that's connected to spirit. And so I've been in this place where I'm like connecting that side to my business, to the way my family, like my spirituality used to be a very separate kind of piece of me. And so now I'm looking at like how to blend it into everything.
Yes.
And Lisa's like, this is what I do. And so here we are, we get to kind of play there.
This is what I do. It is what I do because, and you know, for me, interesting that you said that, is my life. I kept it, we were just talking before about what we named our kids. I said, 28 years ago, I wasn't really living out loud my spiritual beliefs and my magic, so to speak, or how, that's what I call it, my magic, my personal something that I'm here to share in the world. And, you know, now for me, it was an integration process. And I think it is for all women. It's about really getting comfortable with who you are. First, discovering who you are, right? Because we're taught that so many things are not right, are not correct, and then we shove them into the shadow. We deny them, and then once we discover, you know what? As I think it happens when. I mean, it might be happening for younger women, I don't want to say, but for me, it happened in my mid to late 30s, where I started to be like, you know what, that just doesn't work for me anymore. This is who I am. And I discovered Lisa. And then, of course, over the last 10 to 12 years, I'm 49 now, you know, so it's been a while since 35. And I've been integrating these last years. And every year, I just become a more authentic, integrated version of really who I am. And while we talk, I'm going to light my candle. Rock salt, Himalayan salt, awesome. When you heat it up, it does something with the ions. So these are so beautiful. I just want to share this with you. I got it recently, but I love. It's Himalayan rock salt, and it's a tea light holder, and it actually helps purify the air. I'm a multitasker. I'm a Virgo, so anything that does 2 or 3 things at once, I'm like in awe of it. It just rocks for me. So no pun intended, it just rocks. So this is Himalayan salt lamp, little tea light holder, and I love this so much. I've been using this all the time since I got it. And I'm also going to anoint myself with my frankincense essential oil before we get into too deep of a juicy conversation.
Okay,
now,
you have to tell them about the whole frankincense thing, that besides anointing, like tell them a little bit about frankincense, like the spiritual side, and then like the whole, like what we were talking about earlier.
Sure. Well, frankincense is just, it's a magical oil. It has biblical ties. 3 wise men I have mine in a roller bottle, but it makes it very simple. But I have also frank in the bottle like that. But frankincense dates back to biblical times. It was one of the gifts that the Magi, the three wise men, brought to baby Jesus. It was frankincense, myrrh, and gold. So frankincense has amazing magical qualities. I want to say healing qualities, although I need to be very careful and be compliant with language. But I believe very much in frankincense. It's boswellia. It comes from the boswellia tree. And I was an herbalist, so I'll speak to boswellia. Boswellia is actually a natural anti-inflammatory. So I use it internally, I use it topically, and I use it in also my spiritual practice. It's extremely grounding. Any resin or oil that comes from a tree is grounding, right? The magical correspondence to trees is groundedness. So this is a wonderful oil for getting grounded in your sacred practice. It smells magical. It smells like church to me. It took me a while to even like the smell, and that's in full transparency, in all honesty, because it's a very distinct, strong smell. But I have learned over the last few years, once I started really understanding the magic of this oil, I started using it more and more. And like with all things, I developed a taste for it, a smell for it. I love it. But it also, because it has anti-inflammatory properties, I told Amber to put it in her boo-boo. And it's also really good for skin, for wrinkles and stuff, but you want to cut it. You could be sensitive, so you want to cut it with a little carrier oil. I know Amber did not like turn red and scratch us, but we were laughing before. I put it on, but you want to usually use it cut with the carrier oil to make sure that you're not sensitive to it, like coconut oil.
Right, we were saying that, like, yes, you were anointing your third eye, and also this wrinkle spot right there.
Yes, exactly. I anoint to be sacred, and then I'm like, yeah, rub it in the 11s.
And I was like over here, I'm like, okay, here we go.
And then of course the crow's feet, we want to anoint there and there.
Yeah, and I stuck it under my band, and I have this beautiful.
Yeah, essential oils are really wonderful for I use them for disinfecting, all sorts of stuff. So I use them morning, noon, and night. Love them, all different ones. And I love teaching about it because I truly believe that part of part of my soul work in the world is teaching women the ways of the old. So plant power, plant magic has been around since the dawn of time, and it's so important. It helps me actually tap into my wisdom, is actually working with nature to heal, to expand and grow, and it's part of this beautiful. I think it makes life feel very beautiful, very ceremonial, and that's a good lead-in for the high priestess. I took the liberty to pull out my my giant. I bought the giant because I'm blind. After I turned 40, I need to get that laser surgery or something because it's getting worse and worse. I can't see a darn thing. But the giant Rider-Waite tarot deck. I'm not a tarot expert, and you could say tarot. You could say tarot. People say it two different ways. But what's interesting to me about the tarot is that the major arcana is, I believe, I'm not sure how many cards. I want to say 20-something cards, but again, I'm not an expert. So if you're a tarot expert, please don't judge me. But each of the major arcana is an archetype. So the Fool is an archetype, the High Priestess is an archetype, the Empress is an archetype, the Hierophant, and so on and so forth. And when you look at the cards, there's so much symbolism in the cards, and we're going to go through a little bit of that and how we can use the High Priestess to the High Priestess archetype to almost awaken that wisdom within ourselves. That magic and wisdom within ourselves. So a little bit about the High Priestess card. I'm going to hold it up so that you can see. But the High Priestess tarot card is the second card in the major arcana. So she's right at the beginning after the Fool, and she's traditionally depicted, because every tarot deck is depicted a little different, but the symbolism is in there. Each deck, and most tarot readers, most learn on Rider-Waite because this is the most popular to learn on, from what I understand. However, there is a deck to really intrigue everybody's. There's mermaid tarot and, fairy tarot and the witches tarot. And I mean, there's just beautiful, beautiful tarot decks out there. So you have to learn and look, and one will call to you. And then the symbolism on them, you'll look and you'll start to learn the language of that particular tarot. But in this traditional Rider-Waite, the high priestess is traditionally shrouded in mystery, and many interpretations lead to not being able to put this card into a solid context within your life. So there's a lot going on in this card. It's basically, the message of this card is trust your intuition, access your higher powers, and listen to your inner voice. Oh, such a hard thing for women to really trust that inner voice that is whispering, and then the outside world is screaming at us, right? There's so much going on in the outside world, all the input from the people in our lives, our family, the people that matter to us. But what happens is, with so many women, is what we don't realize is that what the people who love us, they're not doing it to derail us or to squash us. It's really their own story, that it's their own fears that they're projecting upon you. So anytime I'm working with private clients or my community, I always encourage them, when you go on this journey inward and for inner growth and inner transformation, don't talk too much to the close people in your life. They're too emotionally evolved, and they feel too much of an invitation to give their opinions. Right? We don't always have the best boundaries with the people closest to us, like our mother, our father, our sister, our best friends, or BFFs, and they just project their own crap on us, which of course then makes us even more confused about that inner guidance. Then we start to second, is that true? Will that happen? Is this crazy? Am I crazy to do this? And we almost talk ourselves right out of things, right? So the high priestess sits between two pillars, one light and one dark. The one dark one is symbolized, it's a polarity, really, the polarity of life, all right? It's talking about the balance between light and dark, all right? The balance between the masculine and the feminine, soft and hard. And then what lives in the shadow and what is illuminated in our lives, right? What lives in the shadow and what's illuminated. She's the feminine principle, crowned with the moon and clothed in watery blue, offering us an example of seeking through receptivity. So she is the epitome of femininity, the high priestess. She's also the connection to the unconscious and the gifts of our intuitive depths. Okay, she knows it all. Now, I took a class with one of my magical mentors. I'll just show you my notes. I should really draw like all of you. Whenever I see your journals after I lead a session, I'm like, oh man, I need to start doing that. It's so beautiful. But I just write notes like crazy and stuff. But I'm going to read you some of the stuff that came up when we went through the high priestess card. Just, you could see here that there's pomegranates. So the high priestess card is a Persephone card, right? Persephone is about the underworld, what lives in the subconscious, what we suppress, all right? The high priestess knows the mysteries of destiny and fate. The high priestess is the gateway into the underworld, and the way to the underworld is across the river Styx. And one of our other amazing, very strong goddess archetypes, Hecate, is actually the one that crosses those who cross over the river Styx when you're leaving physical realm to go into the spiritual realm. So the crown on her head, another symbolism that's very interesting, the crown on her head is actually the triple goddess. All right, if you look, it's the crescent moon with the full moon in the center on her crown. And it actually represents the three phases of the goddess, which is the maiden, the mother, and the crone. The moon at her feet is a waxing crescent, which symbolizes the maiden phase, or the virgin's phase, right? This is down, so she's sitting above that. She's knowledgeable, right? The cross on her chest is equal in length. It's equal armed. So that could be time intersected by eternity. Or it could be divine mortal intersected with heaven and earth. So there's balance, all right? The book on her lap is the book of knowledge. And the book of knowledge never reveals the whole truth. There's always mystery. So that the high priestess always keeps an air of mystery around her, right? Now, let's talk a little bit about that, because that is really important, to, in my opinion, to living the goddess lifestyle.
Before we jump there, can we go back to that card?
Sure.
Can you hold it back up again?
Mm-hmm.
So it's really interesting because I'm looking at that symbology, and it reminds me of, you know those Mother Mary candles where she's like clothed in blue and she's got the crescent moon at the bottom of her feet.
Yes.
Like, it's that same kind of thing. I'm like, there's Mother Mary in there too.
Well, listen, since you brought it up, there is so much. The divine feminine is alive and well within Catholicism, and all religions you can find the divine feminine. If you look back on, for me, I believe all paths lead to one. I don't believe in labels and what I am and what I do, and I don't believe that anybody is right or wrong with how the divine comes to them. It doesn't need to be within a religion. But I'm not also even, what I teach in my groups is, don't, it's fear-based when somebody goes, oh, you're a Satan worshiper and stuff because you don't follow a religion. That's their opinion. Again, like I was saying, we have to choose. Is that really true? Is that true? And for me, the truth is that all paths lead to one, and that I could find the divine feminine in every belief, in every tradition, in every religion on the planet. She's alive and well, trust me. And Catholicism, I'm sorry, if you follow back times, Catholicism ripped off paganism because they wanted to convert people. So, Yule is Christmas. We have Yule trees, and then of course you'll see Yuletide blessings. And they did a lot of stuff where they wanted to make it comfortable for people to embrace religion. But yes, I have the Blessed Mother over there, the Virgin Mary, and she is cloaked in watery blue. And it is very interesting, and she's holding the Book of Knowledge. She has a cross on her chest, but basically that's not religious. That means, basically time intersected by eternity. So that's what I was taught. So this is really, really interesting card. And of course, the three phases of the woman, the maiden, mother, and the crone. The maiden is the beginning. It's the virginal stage. The mother is when we give birth to ideas or birth to our children. And then, of course, the crone is as we age and we go into menopause, let's say, and, if we're putting it to terms now. And 100 years ago, women were dropping dead at that point. You know what I mean? Our lives were over. Now with medical, science and medicine and everything, we're living to be very, very deep. Nobody wants to be called, I don't want to be called a crone. I'm in perimenopause. I don't feel like a crone. However, I feel like women today can literally have it all. We get the best of both worlds, Amber, because we've got the wisdom. We look and feel great, right? We look better than ever at our age. And I think there's a new archetype forming, which is the queen archetype. I believe we've talked about it before. And to me, that is the archetype that comes in after you're done raising babies or birthing your business, and you step into this sovereignty of, I am the boss lady or the queen boss or the queen bee of my life, the queen boss of my business. And you have the wisdom, but you also have the beauty and the youth. So you're not quite crone. You're not mothering anymore. You're in this middle phase. And I really feel she's the queen. And I really feel like the queen of my life now. And whatever archetype, powerful archetype resonates with women, it's the same way that I don't get caught up on semantics. If you love the word empress, go with empress. If you love queen, go with queen. If you love goddess, go with goddess. Whatever feels good to you. But there is going to be a powerful feminine archetype that rings the bell for you. So really embrace what that looks like for you. Don't get caught up on words. That to me is spiritually immature. When we get like, oh, no. That's not right. That's not. There is no right or wrong in spirituality. There is no right or wrong in prayer, who you pray to. There's no right or wrong. It's how it comes to you. And that's really what my work is about, is helping women really embrace how their divinity comes to them, how their spirituality comes to them, and helping them then have the tools in order to really shine and lead with that being the magic.
So coming back to the mystery and integration, how, I get the maiden, mother, crone. That's more of the arc of our lives, I'd say.
Yes.
But there's this other energy that we're talking about. how do we bring that? Because you can actually bring that through all of those areas. So tell me, how do we use that?
Ask me in a different way so I understand better your question. How you can use what?
The energy of the high priestess.
So the energy of the high priestess is she's the holder of the mysteries. So in your life, you know, if you're the holder of the mysteries, there needs to be some stuff about you that's a mystery. I will tell you that I'm married 10 years to my husband, and he's still discovering me. He's still discovering who I am. And, you know, I remember a time in my life where everything was an open book and I had to have everybody understand me. You had to just understand where I was coming from. I mean, I spent hours trying to explain myself. And I lived my life like an open book, and I needed approval, right? So there's many different ways you can look at the symbolism of the mystery. For me, a lot of it had to do with healing my codependency and needing everybody else to be okay with what I was up to, what I was thinking, how I was living, the decisions, how I was raising my children. You know, my mother had to be okay with that. My father had to be okay with it. My husband had to be okay with it. You know, no, I needed to go inward. I had to start listening to that voice within me, the knowing voice, the voice, the intuitive voice that every mama has for her babies. I knew better than everybody. You know how many times I got talked out of something and it ended up blowing in my face, up in my face, because it was my children? Mamas have a special intuition with their children. That's number one. It's about learning to trust your inner guidance, your inner wisdom, and not always talking about it. That was a real unlearning for me, because I am social and I love to talk, and I process by talking. So, but be very careful with who you share your innermost thoughts with, your innermost feelings with, your innermost ideas with. You have to have discernment. The high priestess has discernment. What will I give you? And what will I give you as far as knowledge, as far as, you know, peeking into my life, into what I want? It's about taking back your power, because, you know, we're taught, and depending on how codependent we were raised, to need our mother's approval or our father's approval or friends' approvals, our community or our tribe, whatever. It really goes to taking a look, like, how much am I sharing? And how much can I stop sharing and go inward and listen? Because here is where the answers are, in your inner guidance. It's not other people's projections. And that is how you access the high priestess. It's stop listening and talking so much to others.
That's so good. My grandpa, he passed a while ago, but he told me this poem that he made me remember it when I was 9 years old. And he says, "The wise old owl sat in the oak. The more he heard, the less he spoke. The less he spoke, the more he heard. Why can't you be like that old bird?"
But it's so true, you see. And it's an old, but such truth is in those old poems and those wives' tales and the this and the that. You know, there's so much wisdom to be found in the old ways. And I think that's what I love so much about it. The high priestess also, if you look at her, she's very ceremonial. So for me, and this is all the world according to Lisa, how I live the high priestess in my life is I go inward for my guidance. I'm discerning about who I share my wisdom nuggets with, right? There's a passage in the Bible, and I'm going to paraphrase, but it's basically, you know, don't cast your pearls among swine, for they will turn and stomp on them. So what that basically means is stop giving your wisdom, your pearls, to everybody. Keep them a little closer. Also, if I was to be, you know, if I was to be drawing on some metaphysical, there is a saying that witches basically do. It's to know. I forgot, but it's like to know, to dare, to will, and the last one is to be silent. It's not about sharing all your stuff all the time. It's about going inward and accessing your inner wisdom, your inner power, your inner knowing, the inner mysteries of who you are and the mysteries of the universe. That is the high priestess.
So interesting. Like when you were talking about being silent, like I'm gonna connect it to art, for example, that when I first started doing art, I thought that I wasn't an artist. I was always told I wasn't creative. And so in my 30s is when I rediscovered art. And when I started painting my first painting, like I had a sheet over it. And I didn't even let my husband come and look at it because I was like so in my own process and I
Right?
didn't want other people to have it. It's like having a new idea about a business or about like, you're talking about tuning into that inner wisdom.
Yes.
And I think about like a newborn baby, like my baby. I wouldn't just hand my baby off to anybody. Like, oh
No,
yeah, take my baby, take my
no.
baby. It's like, no, you gotta like, well, at the time when I had kids, I'm like, no, you gotta use like hand soap, and there are only certain people I'm gonna let hold. Like, I'm not gonna let little kids. I mean, they're just certain. It's the whole
Amber,
thing
I
about
do
wisdom.
that with my baby monkey right now. I don't let everybody hold her, and I make everybody sanitize who I do. I totally get it, and I was worse with my children, so I get that. I get that.
Right. So it's the same thing with like our intuition, our wisdom, our creativity, like
Yes,
whatever we're feeling like birthing, if it's new and it's like just sprouting, it's gentle. We have to be
yes,
careful. We have to be mindful and
yes.
aware. And so I love that you're
Especially in
saying
the
that.
beginning. Especially in the beginning, when we're first accessing our truth, our magic, who we are, we must care for it like we would our baby. This is our baby. Keep it close to the chest. Don't share it so much. Allow your inner wisdom to guide you. But here's the great thing. Over the course of the years, as you integrate and you become stronger in your intuitive guidance, stronger, plugged into that high priestess within you, then you start getting on a soapbox. You're like, this is what, look at me now. I'm like, yeah, this is what you should do. Yeah. Because now if somebody said, Lisa, you're ridiculous. I'd be like, okay, that's your opinion. Be good. But if I would have done this 15 years ago, the smallest criticism would have squashed it because it was too tender. I wasn't solid yet. I didn't have firm roots. I did not have that direct connection. I had a feeble connection at best, and it was in and out and in and out because I wasn't used to I wasn't this person. You need to grow into a person. So the way to start now is to just keep it a little close to your chest while you're doing the work. That's why it's so important, I think, for women to have a community of like-minded women that are unemotionally attached to your stuff, and they're not going to project. That's one of the beauties, I think, of sisterhood or groups, because they're going to be like, somebody says, I want to try this. We're like, you can do it. You know what I mean? Instead of like, if you go to your parents, look like, are you crazy? How much is that going to cost? What if it fails? And they just talk us right out of our own greatness.
Such a good point. Yeah, I feel that too. Every program I do, I always have community because it's so important. That's why we have community here at the retreat. It's like we have
Yes.
the people that are, in this case, are the people who are choosing to nurture and take care of themselves instead of like go through like the crazy emotions of holiday time. It's like, no, the group of people are saying, no, take care of yourself, nurture yourself. That's a good thing,
It is. It is. It makes you more, it seems counterintuitive, but the more that you guard and you guard your self-care time, and the more exquisite self-care you indulge in for yourself, you actually show up for the world in a much more powerful and way. You serve better because your cup is filled as opposed to depleted. And these are the things that are just pillars of living the goddess lifestyle. I have to tell you, I don't remember the last time I said yes to something that I didn't feel like doing. I don't do it. It just doesn't serve. It doesn't serve me, but it doesn't serve the person I said yes to begrudgingly. And you got to work through that stuff. And it's an inner game. It's an integration. I've been on this road a long time, and I'm still discovering parts of myself. And that's the beauty of a woman on a journey. All right. That's the beauty of a woman that doesn't wear her entire everything out for the world to see. Like even with my husband, he's still discovering me because I let him come and take a peek and look. I don't say, hey, this is me and this, you better like it, or, I'm just like, I believe in being the magic. That's the only way I could describe it. Be your own special magic. If you want to wear colors in your hair, wear colors in your hair. If you want to do a certain thing, do it. Be the magic. Don't need anybody else to approve of it. Just be the magic, and you will see people will begin to start saying, you are so intriguing and mysterious, and what's the deal with you? And then you're like, I don't know, you'll just have to get to know me better. You know? Keep the mystery. I don't know.
That's so funny. I love that too. And I love that. And so this is like, for me, when I first started, because I understand that for a lot of women, I mean, we've been raised to like fit in boxes. And so it can be super scary to like step out of boxes. And even frankly, wearing clothes that are like, at one point for me that weren't traditional, like was scary. I didn't want people to look at me. And so like I started super small. Like I would put on like earrings that were like a little bit edgy for me, but I would do that, right? And then I mean, now I do all sorts of weird stuff, but
it's like, that's where it's inspiration. Yes, but that's the thing, you know. Start where you're at, darling. Whoever is listening, my girls, start where you're at. If it's just when you go out, if you wear gray all the time, pick a color, your favorite color, and try a shirt on. Just dip your toe a little at a time. Get comfortable with it. Sometimes it's not, you know, not everybody's like all the way type of person, but go easy, because it's about discovering you and the mystery of you. That's what it is. It's not about like she's wrong. As girls, we're told all the things that we do wrong and all the ways we shouldn't be, and we should be more this and less that, and we should tone it down. We should stop, you know, being, you know, so out there. You know, that's just conditioning. So in order to reverse that, it's practical. There's a magical aspect to it, but there's also a practicality to it. Start with something small, but by all means, start to look at your life as a ceremony, because it is. Your life is a ceremony, and your life really could be a beautiful ceremony and a party most of the time. I have crappy moments and crappy days, but honestly, my life, and I'm not saying this to, you know, be like, oh, yeah, I have a great life, but I had to work at creating that. And that meant detaching from other people, the need for other people to approve or like. That codependency had to be healed. I had to really begin to discover who I was as a woman, not the box like Amber was saying, but the woman who was taught to play in a box, to go low under the radar so she wouldn't get noticed and be pointed out. I didn't have the tools and the skills back then to be able to withstand any criticism. It would have crushed me. But it took me time to start being more and more authentically who I was, tapping into that inner wisdom of the high priestess within, and then slowly over time integrating. It's a process. It's a process. And there's nothing wrong if it feels uncomfortable, you're totally on the right path. Let me just mention that. It's never going to feel totally comfortable until you're integrated. Then it's like, yeah, this is who I am. I walk around in a caftan. Yes, I do. I go out to dinner in caftans. I like do the goddess thing all the time. I remember, you know, my husband at first he was like, is that like pajamas? I'm like, no, it's a caftan. And you know, I just now he loves it. But at first he was like, you know, 10 years ago, he was like, oh my God, you know, what are you doing? What is that outfit? He's never seen a woman in a caftan in his life. You know, but this is how now everybody knows. Like I sit with a caftan and a cocktail. That's what I do. And you know, this is who I am. And I first had to be okay with me. When you're okay with you, somehow the whole world becomes okay with it. When we're not really sure and we're like, oh, are you okay with this? You know, we have that attitude. Are you going to be all right with this? That's when you leave yourself open for the input. If you're going to be like, this is who I am, I'm caftanning. You want to stay home? You could cook for me. And my husband's like, no, let's go out. Good, let's go out.
Right? I love that you are making this connection between priestess or, you know, the spiritual side as well as the fun side. I think that sometimes there's this like idea that, okay, if you're spiritual, you're not fun, you have to be very serious. And so I love that you're bringing both elements into that. You know,
Thank you.
I think that's amazing.
That's how I teach, because I'm always blundering. And I, whenever I'm invoking the gods or calling in sacred space, I blunder. And I know the gods have a sense of humor. And I will tell you that the gods do have a sense of humor. They actually are they're very fun from what I understand. The mythology, if you look at the mythology, They're known to be very lighthearted at times, a little nasty at times, but you know, they're certainly not serious. And I think that the playfulness for women over the last few centuries, that we've had our playfulness squashed. And I think that's what's so beautiful about what you do, Amber, because you pretty much, you invite women to play on canvas. And it also activates the creativity in a woman, which, to be honest with you, even if you don't think you're creative, you are on some level. It maybe painting isn't your medium, but women are designed to create, right? We're creatrixes. We're designed that way. So you just have to find your medium. And here's the great thing is, for me, I'm going to be taking your next painting course because I get very hung up on it looking pretty, and that is not the point. And that I need to, but that's how I do things. I know that that's my medicine, because I get like, oh gosh, it has to look pretty. I'm not an artist. You know what? I need to get over that. And that's how I work with myself. I just throw myself in the deep end of the pool. It's the medicine I need, is to be able to just express myself in the way it wants to come out, from heart to hand to paint, right? You know, paintbrush to canvas, and be okay with whatever comes out. That's what needs to be expressed. So it's very important for women to activate creativity on some level. Believe it or not, that activates your magic. Your creativity center is second chakra, right? Your second chakra is your sexuality center and your creativity center. So, you know, I don't know about you, whenever I do anything creative, I get amorous. I really am like, I feel sexy. You know, I feel like I'm in my wild woman, you know, energy. And then I just want to go rip my husband's clothes off. So he always enjoys that. It could be dancing. It could be making a pretty room. When I see beauty in any way, or I create beauty in any way, even cooking a great meal, I definitely, those creative juices, right? That's what they call it. The creative juices are flowing. And the juiciness, it makes you feel a little snazzy. Little sassy, like maybe you want to get a little something going on.
Okay, that's so funny. So I'm gonna need to have you write a testimonial, and then I'll say, okay, send this to all your husbands, and then they will buy you paintings.
So some questions to journal or draw on. Dropping my earring. Okay, so remember the high priestess archetype. She holds the highest secrets. She is the guardian of the mysteries. She knows what you're capable of achieving in life. She knows who you're meant to be in your fullest expression. So meditating with her, very important. Painting or drawing with her. If I don't get my earring on this time, okay, got it. So you want to definitely access her, because she knows the answers. She holds them for you. So some things to journal on. What kind of throne does your high priestess sit upon? Is it made of gold, wood, stone? Is it jewel or crystal encrusted? Is it intricately carved stone or marble? Draw or paint your throne. I'd love to see your high priestess throne. Next, draw your inner high priestess. What color hair and eyes does she have? What is her demeanor? Mysterious, vivacious and outgoing, quiet and contemplative? Is she benevolent? Does she rule with an iron fist? Does she know the mysteries and keep them very close? What is her temperament? How does she behave? And then what you could do, some actionables, is channel your inner high priestess and ask her to reveal to you what needs to be birthed in your life or business in 2017. Ask her. So many times we don't ask. One of the things I love to tell the women in my community is ask for what you want. Let me tell you something. God, goddess, the gods, they want, ask them. It's okay. They're not going to be angry. You can ask for things. And you know what? You can ask for miracles. You can always ask for miracles. So you can spend some time in meditation with the high priestess and journal what comes through. You can paint her, draw her, and then see what comes up for you. And I want to hear all about it in the group.
Yay! Can't wait to Can't wait to see what you're doing, ladies. I see your notes, see whatever images, drawings,
Yes.
information you get, and especially if there's some changes that you're going to be making this next year, would love to hear that in the group. So
Yes, ma'am.
And then I know you have something for the ladies to continue on. You want to share?
Yes, yes. So I have this, everybody starts, it's called the Goddess Lifestyle Swag Bag. And here's the thing, it's my free gift. I am the type of woman, again, I run my business like the things I like in my life. I think that's how you run a successful business. You be completely you. So I like the cocktail hour. I'm a little bit of this and a little bit of that kind of gal. I don't like being boxed into one decision. So I put together swag, Goddess Lifestyle Swag. So you have my foundational workbook, which is Design Your Goddess Life Planner. That is where you want to start, ladies, because if you don't know what lights you up, what makes you feel juicy, what makes you feel like you're living a goddess life, then you don't know where to begin to start to correct, to go towards it. So you want to fill out that workbook. There's also a meditation. I believe it's about Mother Earth. So, you want to have that groundedness. Then there's a workbook or a PDF workbook on how to create sacred space and activate your life magic. So that's pretty great because I do believe that life is a ceremony, like I mentioned, and we can make life a ceremony, burning incense, lighting candles, starting your day and closing your day with an invocation or a prayer, whatever feels good to you. Make life magical and ceremonial. It will feel so much more special, and really it pulls us out of the mundane, because listen, getting your teeth cleaned isn't really magical, but you know what? We have lots of moments in between that we can make really feel juicy and great.
Yay! Yay! I'm taking notes like, yay! Ladies, you can click below right here. We have the link for your swag. I'm going to do like swag. So you can grab the link and pop on over. I love the space or the bit on creative space, on tapping into that juiciness, because I know that connects to your energy. Mm-hmm. So all really important things in order to integrate more for what Lisa was talking about today, to integrate that journey, ladies. So Lisa, thank you so much. Love you.
Oh, I love you too. Ladies, thank you.
All right, so we'll see you in the next session. Have a good one. Can't wait to see you in the group. Bye now.